really interfere with you.
Hola, 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 hola.
Bueno, buenos días a todos. La verdad que es un placer ver el auditorio así lleno para esta ocasión. Eh, Estamos acá hoy para contarles de una nueva iniciativa de la facultad que ahora les vamos a contar un poquito más, pero que está marcado en una estrategia bastante grande de la facultad, que es la internacionalización. Esta parte del perfil del graduado UCU, como saben, habla de la visión de mundo de estudiantes que una vez que salgan de la universidad tengan lo que llamamos la visión de mundo, y es algo que vamos trabajando a lo largo de todo el programa académico, pero que pensamos también en las posibilidades que ustedes tengan después de que se gradúen. Entonces, parte de en ese marco es que hicimos este acuerdo con la Universidad de Fordham, que ahora les vamos a contar un poquito más. Pero antes de eso, el Maru Pereira, que ya la conocen porque es una de las profesores estrellas de la facultad, fue directora de la... Dije profesora estrella y se empezaron a reír, che. No sé si este
Entre
club de...
estrella y estrellada hay poca diferencia en esa
No,
palabra.
no sabemos si es parte del club de fans o del otro, digamos, pero hubo, sí, ojo con la traducción de estrella, pobre, porque Cristina, que está ahí, no habla español, así que cuando le hagamos la traducción simultánea, pero bueno, además de ser una de las profesores estrellas de la facultad, Maru, justamente tenemos tantas iniciativas a nivel de internacionalización en la facultad, que Maru está concentrando todo lo que son los esfuerzos de vínculos con otras universidades del mundo, ¿no? Entonces, si ustedes quieren averiguar por las distintas iniciativas que tenemos en la facultad por temas de internacionalización, además de hablar con su director de programa, Maru va a estar ahí en la vuelta ayudándolos a ver cómo la podemos implementar, además de la Dirección de Asuntos Internacionales. Pero bueno, por eso Maru está acá conmigo y queríamos hacerles unas preguntas.
¿Alguna vez pensó en hacer algo internacional durante su carrera? Ya sea irse de intercambio, semana internacional, summer winter programs. Bueno, pero van a haber
Acá.
otras, no te
Por
preocupes.
quejas es en el otro mostrador, digamos.
Pero van a haber otras. Tenemos una con Perú ahora. Si estás siguiendo el Instagram de internacionales, vas a poder ver que hay otra con Perú ahora.
Pará, pero ¿cuál era la de Río, la que
La Río.
querías hacer? Bueno, en verdad está bueno, gracias, te agradezco el comentario, porque armamos tremenda semana internacional en la PUC de Río y no la pudimos hacer porque tuvimos pocos inscriptos. Así que, ¿cómo es tu nombre? En solidaridad con Florencia, la verdad que la próxima vez que hagamos una propuesta como esta en Río, muchachos, la verdad que había más profesores. Quiero que sepan que había más gente de la universidad del staff anotada que estudiantes. Todos nos ofrecíamos a ir a Río. Pero bueno, más allá de esto, que la verdad que estamos hablando de cualquier cosa menos de lo de Fordham, pero había acá, decíamos, hay un montón de iniciativas desde las semanas internacionales, cursos intensivos de verano e invierno para ir,
Hay algunos haciendo coils ahora. Lanzaron al lunes los coils.
algunos de los calls internacionales, allá alguno está como medio, todavía no le convence demasiado, va a estar bueno, te prometo que va a estar bueno al final. Y semestre internacional, pero había un grupete por acá que se quiere ir de viaje, me parece. ¿Alguno más por allá? Vamos a...
Aparte son los chicos que están en segundo. Están todos aplicando en este momento para irse.
Y la otra pregunta, así, acá hay estudiantes de segundo y estudiantes de cuarto. ¿Alguno está pensando en hacer un máster después de todo lo mismo? Ah, por suerte allá. Allá están pensando en hacer un máster después de que se gradúen.
¿Está empezando a hacer un máster acá o afuera? A nivel internacional. Afuera. Ok, genial. Entonces, esta charla es para ustedes. ¿Sí? Un poco lo que vamos a presentarles hoy tiene que ver con una nueva propuesta de la universidad,
Alborotamos
que
el avispero y ahora no lo podemos acomodar.
así son siempre, en todas las clases. Un poco lo que vamos a hacer hoy es presentarles una nueva propuesta a la universidad que justamente les va a simplificar, les va a ayudar en el caso de que ustedes estén pensando en hacer una maestría en Estados Unidos, en donde, por ejemplo, hoy vamos a presentar el caso de Fordham, donde ustedes van a tener un acceso más simplificado, más fácil, un carril paralelo, por decir una manera, para justamente poder acceder a una excelente universidad en Nueva York. ¿Y quién no quiere estudiar en Nueva York? ¿Quién no se imagina caminando por Nueva York y estudiando en Nueva York?
Yo me reimagino. Me autopercibo en Nueva York en este momento.
Todos. Así que bueno, un poco.
No, y en eso, como les decía esto, además de la visión de mundo que nosotros trabajamos desde el primer día, ¿se acuerdan allá en el ciclo común cuando empezaron? Que parece como allá hace tiempo y lejos. Una de las cosas que le pedíamos en el ciclo común es que el proyecto que ustedes lideran tenía que tener una dimensión internacional. De hecho, era uno de los puntos que le evaluábamos, que cuál era la capacidad de internacionalización que tenía la idea de negocios que ustedes pensaban. A lo largo de la carrera tratamos en cada uno de los programas académicos de que tengan una dimensión internacional. Pero además de eso, la importancia de que ustedes tengan una experiencia vivencial en el exterior. Entonces, que tengan, por eso la cantidad de ofertas que tenemos para que ustedes tengan una experiencia internacional. Y esto se ata con otra dimensión también que es súper importante, que queremos inculcarles y que queremos que les quede presente, que es lo que en inglés se llama el lifelong learning, ¿no? Esto de que uno va aprendiendo a lo largo de toda la vida. O sea, el mundo no se acaba con el título de grado. Vamos a hacer tremenda fiesta, les prometo que va a estar buenísimo cuando se termine el grado. Vamos a, levantar la arena, la vamos a romper, pero es solo un escalón más. ¿Tá? Esto, ustedes tienen que pensar que a lo largo de su vida profesional, una de las cosas que más trabajamos es que ustedes aprendan a aprender, porque el mundo cambia, ustedes se tienen que seguir estudiando y profesionalizando. Un bajón, ustedes están re entusiasmados con que ahora me voy a recibir y ya está, y no, no está. Lamento contarles eso. Entonces, en lo que sigue y lo que viene, queremos también acompañarlos, ayudarlos, generarles opciones para lo que ustedes quieran hacer. Por eso también otro abanico de ofertas para que ustedes sigan pudiendo tomar decisiones, sigan abriéndose puertas y tengan diferentes opciones. Y por eso estamos trabajando en acuerdos como este, ¿sí? Pero como este también es un momento importante para la universidad, porque si nosotros tenemos, si los de Fordham hacen este acuerdo con nosotros, es porque entienden que el nivel académico de ustedes, de los programas académicos que tenemos acá en la universidad y de el nivel de excelencia que tiene la formación en la UCU, esto es posible gracias al trabajo que hacemos todos, pero además es un hito importante para la universidad también. Por eso vamos a una persona muy seria en esta universidad, que es el vicerrector de programas académicos, para darle un acto de solemnidad a este momento. Así que, Mario.
Mirá, vamos a aclarar una cosa. ¿La están aplaudiendo a ella o me están aplaudiendo a mí? Porque no me quedó claro. No, lo segundo ah, el, el peor día para esto, ¿no? Después de lo de anoche, digo, eh, y, y no, no, pero estoy destruido emocionalmente. Me traen acá y me empiezan a hablar de Río de Janeiro, con lo cual me están haciendo bullying y el 4+1, que ya estoy viendo todos señales de lo que pasó anoche en el partido, así que estoy moralmente destruido con esto.
Estamos,
Sí,
estamos.
sí, sí. Hagan lo que quieran. No, no. No, a ver, muchachos, primero obviamente felicitar a la decana, agradecerle a Maru, darle la bienvenida a Cristina. Es un placer tenerlo. Esto se enmarca un poco en esas dimensiones que entendemos que son fundamentales y que atraviesan a todas las carreras y todas las facultades, el aprendizaje en competencias, la transversalidad, los minors, las selectivas, etcétera, y también la internacionalización. Y la internacionalización no solo vista con lo de Río, yo estaría también muerto de la angustia que me dejaron afuera, y me dejaron afuera también de la Copa, o sea que es tremendo. Eh, en distintas experiencias y distintas formas de vivir esa internacionalización, que es, de algún modo, si uno se queda encerradito en el caparazón con lo que pasa en mi barrio, con lo que me cuenta el de al lado, etcétera, todos los que han viajado saben que, bueno, hay un mundo allá afuera, en muchas ocasiones un mundo que nos permite vislumbrar lo que se viene más adelante. Es una de las ventajas que tiene Uruguay, todo pasa 10, 15 años después. Entonces, si salimos, podemos aventurarnos a ese futuro y además viéndolo en una lógica, como decía Isa, de continuar formándose y no quedarse en la carrera. Dicho esto, voy a aclarar, la carrera es fundamental, es importante y va a haber muchos que no hagan maestría, si no pasa nada, está todo bien, pero aquellos otros que quieran seguirse formando, esta es una oportunidad preciosa para hacerlo con Fordham, que además es una universidad también de la Compañía de Jesús, así que eh, es una... Nosotros quisiéramos que fueran hermanos, no sé si ellos nos consideran hermanos o primos, pero al final del día son las alianzas que tienen lugar. Eso, chicos, aprovechen las oportunidades, disfrútenlos. Nos parece fundamental darles estas oportunidades. Y como decíamos la vez pasada, cuando presentábamos otro convenio y otro acuerdo, digo, para los que trabajamos en la universidad esto tiene sentido si logramos darles a los estudiantes oportunidades que a nosotros nos hubiera encantado tener cuando éramos estudiantes y estábamos acá en la UCO. Entonces, eso es un motivo de satisfacción y de alegría. Felicitaciones y muchas gracias. Y bueno, ténganme piedad de estos días posteriores a la libertad.
Bueno, estamos convencidos que ustedes pueden ser excelentes embajadores, no solamente de la UCU, sino también de Uruguay, de poder salir afuera y generar vínculos, contactarse con gente, con empresarios de otros países y poder traer tal vez negocios a Uruguay. Y por eso también nos animamos a hacer alianzas con estas escuelas tan prestigiosas. Y para hablarnos justamente de una de ellas, tenemos hoy a Cristín, que nos va a hablar un poco sobre Fordham. Y antes, mientras tanto, vamos a ir poniendo un video para que ustedes puedan ubicarse de qué es Fordham, dónde está Fordham y qué pueden ver y hacer en Fordham. Así que, bueno, bienvenida, muchas gracias.
New York is Fordham's campus. Being a business school in Midtown Manhattan provides extraordinary advantages.
You can go to class in the morning, have a meeting for lunch, and then come back for another class all in the same day.
If you're doing a part-time internship and if you're interviewing, it doesn't really interfere with your classes.
Just being in New York, everything really fuels your mentality. It makes you want to keep pushing. It makes you want to go after it more.
One of the advantages of being in New York is every week we have guest speakers that are really thought leaders in their field.
There's often networking type opportunities to visit like Turner Broadcast or to visit JP Morgan.
We're being invited to Google, Facebook, so it's just a huge advantage.
We're not just coming together and just learning the books, but we're also experiencing what New York City has to offer. And I think that's really important.
Anything that can help me prepare to have a professional career here is something that I'm going to want to do.
You're really at the heart of business and culture.
New York is the center of the world, and Fordham is the center of the New York.
All right. Hi, everyone. Good morning. Buenos dias. My name is Christina Sikowski, and I'm coming to you from New York City. It's such a pleasure to be here in Uruguay. This is my first time in Montevideo, and I am just so touched to see such a wonderful turnout. Thank you all for being here. In my role at Fordham University, I oversee our admissions for our specialized master's programs. And I also help to recruit for our MBA programs as well. So I'm here to talk about what we offer in both the realm of MBA as well as the specialized master's degrees. There is a bit of a difference between the two types of programs, so love to tell you a little bit more about that and what we represent and what we offer as well. And as you saw from the video, we are located in the heart of Manhattan. So I'll be talking about, what is that? How does that translate in a lot of ways to your business degree with us and how you can take advantage of that as well too. We'll also talk about the tuition, the application process, and what you have to look forward to, whether it's next fall or in the future as well too. We can stay connected after this as well. I hope that with the launching of our new partnership, this will be one of many times I will see you all here at UCU. It is such a pleasure to be here. I can't say that enough. So let's get into it. Who are we? We are a Catholic Jesuit institution as well, located in New York. And what that means when you're pursuing a Jesuit business graduate degree with us is that you're not just a number with us. Our class sizes are purposefully smaller to ensure that there is personalized attention to you and what you need to succeed in the program. Your advisors know you by name. Your faculty who are also coming from different areas of industry, they also know you by name. You're able to connect with them, to have that one-to-one. And then also when you're collaborating with your classmates in that class setting, you are also working in smaller groups. You know each other, you know your strengths, and you also know those weaknesses. You're there to pull together and to collaborate. Now, we have a couple of different campuses across New York State and across the world as well, and some of our students do take advantage of a few of them while pursuing their degrees with us. The campus that you probably had seen on our video just now, and maybe if you had looked into us before today, you may be familiar with our Manhattan or what we call the Lincoln Center campus. We call it Lincoln Center because it's exactly that. It's right next door to the Lincoln Center Performing Arts. So literally in our backyard, we get to see the Big Apple Circus, the Philharmonic, the New York Ballet. It's all there. And when you're a business student, the expectation is that you're not just going to class, you're enjoying what New York has to offer culturally as well. So oftentimes we do see our students going off and maybe seeing a show, going to a museum, but also going to some very important networking events that are just steps away from our Manhattan campus. And of course, we'll show you the map later as well too, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention Central Park, which is just a few blocks away from our campus as well. I know I personally take advantage of that area after work, enjoy the greenery, and especially during the seasons, watching the leaves change and just being part of that outdoors life too, and that balance, which is really important when you're a student working very hard. We are also known by our Bronx campus. So north of Manhattan, we do have the borough of the Bronx. For those of you who might not be familiar with New York, we're made up of 5 different boroughs. So we have Manhattan, the Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, and then Staten Island. I'd like to think that Staten Island's kind of like the younger sibling that people often forget, but very much so, Staten Island's part of New York too. So our Bronx campus is home to our undergraduate business programs. Typically, that is what you would imagine a traditional US campus to look like. It has that gated kind of community, older buildings, the ivy climbing up the buildings as well. So it has that undergraduate feel for our students that are seeking those degrees and exploring their opportunities at that level. Now, whereas that compares with our Manhattan campus, you're very much in that urban setting, you're ready to go, you're ready to network, and those that are looking to network with our students are able to access them very easily as well. We also have our Westchester campus, which is located just north outside of New York City. So it's considered like a suburban area of New York. That's home to many of our professional programs as well. And then we have our London, UK campus. And so in London, we have an urban campus there as well, which is a great option for some of our students to study abroad. But oftentimes we are also sending our full-time MBA students there for consulting projects as well. So maybe some of you are already familiar with the Jesuit values of Cura Personalis, and I already kind of touched on this before in talking about what does it mean to pursue a Catholic education at a business school setting. The idea of Cura Personalis really resonates with the care of the whole person. So knowing that it's not just about business for profit with us, it's about business for purpose. And when you work with our team and you're working with our university, it goes beyond saying that it's not just about our success, it's your success, and seeing you do well to network and to grow professionally and academically. How that also reflects in our classes and in what we are doing. We have a couple of different initiatives that I'll talk to you a little bit more about as well, but it's about pursuing business, not just for that purpose of making a profit, but how to make those impactful decisions and keeping in mind the community, those who are on your team, those that are your colleagues, those that are in the environment, sustainable acts of business, responsible and ethical business. It's all reflected in a lot of our programming, as well as what you'll experience outside of the campus or outside of the classroom experience as well. All right, and as I mentioned, here's the map of New York City or of Manhattan. Oftentimes in New York, we refer to New York or we refer to the city as Manhattan. It is known to be one of the hubs for multiple different industries. Where we're located is that nice golden arrow pointing right there, our campus. It's nestled in the Upper West Side or just west of Midtown. And Midtown typically is home to Fortune 500 companies, financial services, the big 4 accounting firms, the consulting agencies are also nestled in Midtown. If you're interested in media and entertainment, we are sandwiched perfectly between ABC and CBS and 30 Rock, which many have heard of, right? NBC Universal. That is also located just down the street from us as well, too, across Manhattan. If you're interested in marketing and advertising, I often resort back to Mad Men, but Madison Avenue, where the advertising agencies had begun in the United States, are also located just down the street from us, to the right of our campus or east of our campus as well. And that beautiful maroon box that you see, that is Central Park. So oftentimes, again, just within that step away from Central Park as well. in finance and Wall Street, also located south of us in Wall Street area, the tip of Manhattan, which is just a short subway ride away for our students. I often say, how does anyone not want to study business here? Of course, you know, it's New York, so there is a lot of return on that investment, but there's a lot of investing in that area and in that space as well. I find that New York is a place where you're not only looking to professionally grow, but you will personally grow here as well. It's a global campus and a global city, so you'll also be surrounded by others who are coming from all over the world as well. I often used to say that when I was a graduate student in New York, that I was a poor graduate student at that. So I did not have money to come to Uruguay. This is my very first time here, actually. So what I would do instead, I would joke and say I would eat around the world in all parts of New York City, because we're so proudly representing different cultures and peoples from all over the world as well. And they share their culture, in my favorite way, by food. So it's such a beautiful place, but it's also a really great opportunity for students to grow, for professionals to learn more about themselves, and to network as well too. We'll talk a little bit more about like how our students are networking, but more often than not, because of our location, we have professionals that are able to access our campus relatively easily. So we invite different alumni, we invite different thought leaders or different industry leaders as well to come to our campus, to meet with our students, to be part of conferences and different speaker series. We often are hosting industry-led conferences as well too, because of our location. That is just so easy for us to, you know, attract that type of professionalism, that type of talent. With the United Nations being not too far from us, we have actually helped host different Climate Week talks and conferences as well. So there's a lot of talk of sustainability. Our Responsible Business Center is a hub for that as well. So many of our students are able to get involved as fellows and to be paid to actually help with responsible business initiatives that are affected or are applied across multiple industries as well too. So again, you're within walking distance, but then also our faculty who are teaching in those classes are also coming from industry themselves. They're often either working as adjuncts, so balancing their time in the industry and then teaching our students in the evenings outside of that working time. Or perhaps they have spent significant time in the industry themselves and are looking to, you know, teach full time and to really pursue their research studies as well too. But the idea is that you are not just sitting in class and going to class and that's that. You're applying what you're learning, you're applying it into real world situations, and you're able to see that come alive across multiple companies that are visiting or are talking about like how we're practicing what we're learning or those skill sets that you're developing in the classroom experience. And I would say that alumni too is a big part of what makes us successful. Being a Jesuit institution too, I think that we tend to attract those who want to give back, whether they're giving back to the community immediately or maybe to society through like different responsible business or sustainable practice. But we often are seeing alumni from across the world who are open to connecting with prospective students. So students like you who are maybe considering what that next step is for you, they're happy to connect with you via LinkedIn, or it's usually easy to just, you know, have like an email conversation that turns into a Zoom, that eventually turns into a coffee chat that's in person, maybe back home or even in New York as well. So oftentimes we're seeing very generous alumni who are located all over the world that are still willing to connect and help to spread that information of why a Fordham degree and a Gabelli School of Business master's degree is valuable for your development as a professional. And I talked about a few of the responsible business initiatives already, but I think that for those of you who are maybe thinking about building a business or considering maybe like what goes into developing a business and a business idea, we do have a couple of different centers on campus that really work around entrepreneurship as well. Our Fordham Foundry and Fordham Angel Fund are actually ways that our students at the graduate level are able to get involved and to build those ideas. I always think, what better place to start a business than in business school? Because even if maybe you're only coming from one perspective of industry or function of business, maybe accounting or marketing or finance, you have those surrounding you that are bringing the other pieces of business to life as well too, and are able to help guide you through that business idea. And as I said before too, that Responsible Business Center That's a huge part of what I think helps make us, I guess, qualify of practicing what we're preaching, right? We talk about responsible business, but let's put our money where our mouth is, right? So this Responsible Business Center is a way for our students to get involved. They host annual conferences and they talk about different ways in which we can develop more responsible business practice across multiple industries too. Actually, not too long ago, we had a conference. Annually, we typically have a responsible business conference, right? But not too long ago, we had a focus on fashion. And as a female, I do love my fashion. But with responsible business, we were talking about greenwashing and with fast fashion. And we were able to actually ask the CEO of Abercrombie & Fitch to come to our campus and to give a talk about fast fashion and how practices are changing, even with Abercrombie as well. And she was able to come to our campus because she was an alumni of our MBA. So it's just really awesome to see big names and different companies that are able to, again, give back and to talk about what they're doing in their industry and how they're helping our students and helping guide different industry ties as well too. All right, and then talking about other ways in which our students are getting involved, we have a couple of different clubs and activities, which might be a little hard to see from your vantage point there, but I will say that they are divided into different, like say, functions of business. They're divided into affinity groups. And the idea is that you're not just going to class and then going home. Very much so, I would say that a lot of your development as a student in our campus is also to go to like different clubs and organizations, to be part of different talks, to network. And a lot of these clubs and organizations are completely ran by our graduate students in the business school. And they also allow our students the opportunity to coordinate and to really lead conferences, guest speaker series, and to be the front facing of these clubs to these different networking and alumni speakers. So you're able to be front and center, you're able to have that one-to-one personal time, and you're really able to ensure that you're setting yourself apart from others by leading some of these clubs. So it's another really great way, and I would say probably the most important way that our students are networking outside of the classroom experience. There's a lot to cover, I know here. So we're talking about responsible business. We have a leadership certificate program that complements our specialized master's programs as well. And this really dives into who you are, what your strengths are, and how you can lean into those strengths in professional opportunities and in professional environments. So this, again, is something that you're doing outside of your classroom experience. You're getting to know other students in your program as well. And you're really diving into what makes you a successful business leader in that professional setting. Oftentimes, many of our specialized master's students are coming directly from undergraduate degrees. They might have some limited professional full-time experience. So these certificates have actually helped to guide and support them when they're embarking on their first professional position. And what would business school be without a return on investment and talking about careers? Obviously, if you're pursuing a degree in New York City, the idea is that you want to be placed, you want to find a job, you want to find an opportunity that maybe you wouldn't have found like anywhere else in the world. And so our career development office is really dedicated to helping our students, whether you are a graduate student in the master's program or a graduate student in our MBA. You will have one-to-one industry experience or industry guidance from our advisors that are coming from that industry itself. So they're able to guide you based off of what their network has done or what their network trends are looking like. They're able to tap into different areas of the industry based off of their own experiences as well and help to strategize what are your next steps and how to ensure that you are on the right path towards those steps as well. So whether it's one-to-one guidance, workshops, or even just say like different like recruiters or different company visits, we're here to ensure that, you know, when you're in the program, you're getting the most out of that professionally as well. So this is only open to our graduate business students. We have a center located on our Lincoln Center campus for career development and student success. And as I mentioned again, you know, this is where the number or the personalization that I had talked about before is really important, because now you have an industry advisor or someone who knows the function of business you're pursuing very well and they know you by name and they know what you're interested in. And they're also invested in your success too. So that's where, ensuring that you're in a smaller community or a smaller environment can really help you succeed in areas of business and where you're going after the program as well. All right, so let's talk about the differences in some of our programs. And this might be a good opportunity to maybe stop and just ask a quick question. Who in the room, and I promise this is not a trick question, but who in the room knows what a STEM degree means or what it is in the United States, a STEM degree? Does anyone know what STEM means? I'm glad I asked. I love asking this question. I think it's really important. Okay, so a STEM degree, and in the United States, we offer what we call STEM designated degrees. In English, it stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, right? Okay. And so the idea is that when you are pursuing a degree in the US that is considered a STEM designated degree, you are actually allowed to stay in the United States after you've graduated from this program for additional time because you had studied something in those areas. So typically, when you're pursuing a degree in the US, we call it OPT or Occupational Practicum Training Time. You're allotted 1 year to stay in the US without sponsorship from a company or an employer. With STEM, you're allowed to stay for up to 3 years. So you have a 24-month extension because of the STEM designated degree. So a lot of our opportunities here that we're offering are actually STEM designated degrees that can allow you to pursue professional opportunities without sponsorship and to really make the most of your experience in New York, as well as throughout the other parts of the country as well too. So you don't have to stay in New York after you've completed your degree. You can look at other areas of the country too. You can pursue different professional opportunities and not have to worry about there being a stress of, am I going to get kicked out? What's going to happen here? You have that time. You have that time to explore. So our full-time MBA program, which is the very top MBA program that we have here listed on your screen there, that is a STEM designated degree. And part of that, that opportunity or part of that experience is pursuing the degree full-time. So you're totally immersed in the program. Our students aren't able to work while pursuing the degree, but the idea is that you're fully immersed. You're able to attend different guest speaker series. You're able to attend different talks and classes and networking events. You're putting on conferences yourself. You're actively involved in the program. This also includes global immersion projects and consulting projects and class projects in which you're meeting on a regular basis. And the MBA, if anything, is really building your overall advanced knowledge across multiple areas of business. So you're not really focusing on just accounting or just marketing. You're taking bits and pieces of different areas of business like strategy, operations, finance, and you're building advanced knowledge in those areas. It's a 2-year program, so the first year, you're really looking to develop that advanced business knowledge and skill sets. You have consulting projects that you are pursuing with your group. We have a London campus consulting project at the very beginning, and then we have another global immersion project, consulting project afterwards in the following semester, in your second semester as well. And we send our students to different places in different parts of the world each time or each year to keep things interesting, to keep things unique for every single class. But what you're receiving on every trip is company visit, the consulting experience, that industry experience, and then that really worthwhile experience of learning how to collaborate with others as well. Now, the biggest difference between an MBA versus an MS is probably going to be the professional experience of our students going into those programs. So an MBA program does require full-time working experience with us. And typically, it's not just any type of full-time working experience. We're looking for those who have been leaders. Maybe they've led groups, or maybe they've managed projects, or maybe they've managed budget, and maybe they've managed some people as well too. So typically working between maybe 3 to 5 years is ideal before pursuing that MBA with us too. Now, where the MS programs kind of compete, but where they lie as well too, is that the MS programs are more of like that pre-experience, so really building in particular areas of business. With a full-time MBA, it is a 2-year program. It does require a little bit more investment. So we do have some tuition and fees up there too. So higher tuition, which means a higher return on your investment as well. So typically our MBA candidates are coming out of the program with an average salary of 123,000 USD. And that's average. Some of our students might be pursuing other areas that are paying more, and some are usually landing in that area as well in New York or in other parts of the US. Typically, our candidates might be going on to pursuing areas of finance, consulting, or marketing, but we have seen other MBA graduates go on to other successful positions or throughout different industries as well too. We do also consider everyone for merit-based scholarship, and as a UCU graduate, you automatically receive a $10,000 scholarship for our MS programs as well, but we do look at you for merit-based scholarship automatically at the time of admission. All right, this is a very long slide. We're going to talk about all of our specialized master's programs now. And as I mentioned, the major difference between a specialized master's versus a MBA program is that it is pre-experience. So the idea is that you do not need to have full-time working experience in the program to be a good candidate or a good fit for the degree. Instead of focusing on multiple areas of business and going into like everything or looking at advanced business knowledge, we're really focusing on a specific function or specialty in business as well. So we do split ours up just to kind of help keep things a little bit more, I guess, organized here. But we split up our degrees in analytics, business technology, finance, management, and professional services. And anything with a little STEM badge next to it, that indicates that that program is going to have an extended STEM designated like OPT. So you'll have that 3 years in the United States to really optimize your network, to optimize everything you've learned in the program, and to pursue those different opportunities and internships, but most likely full-time jobs. Starting with analytics, we have a brand new program. So excited to mention this one to all of you today. It's called our Artificial Intelligence in Business. And the idea is that you're going to be an early adopter of AI in different areas of business. Who is familiar with AI? Everyone's hand should be shooting up now, right? I mean, come on. Who doesn't know AI nowadays? It's taking over. So the idea is that we really want to help build those skills, applying AI in different areas and industries, and really ensuring that our students know the cutting edge skills and practice of AI and are able to do so in multiple environments as well. We have a business analytics program as well too under our analytics umbrella, and that is working with data, helping using data for decision making, maybe data cleaning, mining, and strategizing as well too. We have a marketing intelligence program, which is kind of similar to business analytics in that it utilizes analytics and data, but in the marketing area as well. So really building your advanced knowledge in marketing as well, and then applying data analytics for that intelligence piece. Better understanding strategy and better understanding whether or not your marketing campaigns and practices, if they're successful or not. So really incorporating data into marketing practice. In our business technology, we have our information technology program as well that goes into operating systems, that also has some cybersecurity options to it as well too. It's again really helping to manage different areas and operations of business through systems, through machine learning and programming, and borrowing some of that data analytics as well. In our finance suite, we have two programs, our MS in Finance and Quantitative Finance. And I would say that based off of where we're located in New York, finance is relatively strong for us, whether it's in the specialized master's area or in the MBA as well. And many of our students who are interested in investment banking or corporate finance or fintech are typically pursuing our MS in Finance degree, which has concentrations in all three, but will really help to build your advanced knowledge in a couple of different areas of finance too. Our quantitative finance program is a little bit different. I would say that it actually is more of a financial engineering type of program. So really knowing and understanding the different algorithmic or risk analysis that goes back into like financial markets. So there's a lot of heavy mathematics and quant and applying that through different global financial markets as well. Under our management umbrella, we have a couple of programs here. Our MS in management is a really great fit for those who might not be business majors or maybe business study. And so maybe they're looking to get like maybe I would like to say like a dip their toes scenario into a program that has like business and maybe more of management and thoughtful leadership. But it is not STEM designated, and I believe that most of you already have business background. So maybe something that is in the MBA or a specialized master's in another area might be better fitting for you here. We do also offer media management, and as I mentioned, we have a couple of different media and media industry companies surrounding us in our location in Manhattan. And so with the media management program, oftentimes we're seeing our students going to work with different areas of NBC Universal or perhaps even different media companies. They're looking to help with brand management, maybe leading and strategy on the business side of media and entertainment. We often say that LA is known for its creative in media. Obviously, who hasn't heard of Hollywood, right? But in New York City and on the East Coast, we're more on the business side of media and entertainment. So knowing the business side is a big part of the media management program. And then last but not least, we have a professional services area. So I'm sure you're all familiar with accounting. Accounting was probably one of our very first programs that we offered at the business school. And accounting is actually known to be the language of business, right? How romantic. But yeah, so professional accounting is a STEM designated program that we offered our institution. There's a lot of great work that we are doing with Big Four accounting firms, as well as the sustainable accounting area. So the SASB is actually located and does annual or holds annual conferences with us on a regular basis to talk about how we can use accounting for sustainable business and responsible business practice. So a lot of different ways to really expand what you know in accounting. We also have our online tax program too, and oftentimes for those students who are pursuing their degrees outside of the United States, having an online degree doesn't allow you to have like a residential or to stay in the US. So oftentimes we see accounting students who might dip into some of the tax electives. So if you're interested in like corporate tax or global tax, estate tax in the US, you know, as an accounting student, you can actually go into some of those classes as well. Bless you. And another big difference I would say between the specialized masters and the MBA is that typically specialized master's programs aren't as long as an MBA program. So the MBA is a full 2 years, and many of our specialized masters may range in time and in investment. So we do have some programs that are 30 credits, which are typically about 12-month programs, so maybe 2 or 3 semesters. We have 33 to 39 credit programs too that can range anywhere from 14 months to 18 months or so. So maybe looking at 3 to 4 semesters of enrollment. And the idea is that you're not investing as much time. And because of that, we do bill by credit. So it's not as much investment on your wallet as well. And as I said before, as a UCU graduate and with our new partnership, you are guaranteed a $10,000 scholarship towards the cost of tuition, but that's just the beginning of it. Oftentimes we're seeing students who are very well accomplished outside of the classroom environment, or maybe they're very strong academically as well. And we'll talk about what goes into that scholarship consideration, but I do want to just say that that is just the beginning. We do often see students that qualify for much more than the 10,000 because of how awesome they are, the types of accolades and accomplishments that they bring to the program as well. And so we do consider that at the time of admission. So this is typically just the beginning, right? This might be the first time you're hearing about our program. This might be the first time you're considering, do I want to go to New York City, this place that's so far away? And so I hope that you will continue to interact with our team, to possibly attend different virtual events that we'll host. When I come back and visit, I would love to do maybe one-to-one meetings with you and to meet you and to get to know who you are and what you're looking for as well too. But if you are kind of thinking about your next steps immediately, we do host different virtual events throughout the year so you can get to know us, get to know our faculty, our advisors, because let's face it, right? Like what makes you successful in your program isn't just the program itself. It's all the people that really play a part, right? So making sure that you're in the best fitting program, the best fitting environment is really key here for your return on investment and for your success. But if you are interested in applying, I do have some deadlines up here too. So typically each deadline is when you're submitting application materials to us. And then within 4 to 5 weeks, that's when we're getting back to you with a decision. That's a decision on admission and a decision on scholarship consideration as well. So we have a couple of deadlines, and typically I would say the most popular ones are the January and March deadlines. So if you can't apply in January, then typically applying in March is key, especially if you're coming from outside the United States. So there is an additional step that our students from outside the US take, and that is pursuing that visa. We do have an office on campus that does walk you through that and helps to support you through that too, because it can be kind of scary. It's a lot to do, but we have someone there to help guide you through it so you're not alone. Our office helps as well in supporting you throughout those next steps. But while you're in the program, you have a group in an office that knows U.S. immigration and can help guide you through what you need, especially if you want to come and go, maybe see your family in the holidays, maybe visit other parts of the U.S. or other parts of North America as well. So you do have that support throughout the program too. But because the visa process takes some time, we often say all students from outside the United States should apply by our March deadline, that March 21st deadline. Whether you're applying this upcoming fall 2025, which begins in August, believe it or not, or in July, if you're looking at the MBA, usually we are, our dates and our deadlines are similar. So whether or not it's now or maybe a couple years down the line, know that those deadlines are typically the same from year to year. The date, for obvious reasons, the date might change a little bit there. So we were talking about the application process and what goes into that, right? And as a Jesuit institution, we really do lean into the idea of holistic review and holistic study. I've said it already, you're not just a number, so your application shouldn't just be about numbers either, right? Of course, academically, we do want to ensure that you have what it takes to be successful in our program. So having a strong academic transcript is ideal. We do look to see if you have taken any relevant classes in specific areas of business. So say, for instance, if you're pursuing artificial intelligence in business, looking to see if you've had some computer science or if you've worked with some data analytics in some way, shape, or form. How have you done in other mathematics classes as well? But then we also consider what kind of work are you doing outside of the classroom environment? What types of internships or maybe clubs or ways that you've gotten involved? Are you a leader in a community, or do you volunteer for a cause that you care deeply about? We look at that as well, and that's a big part of like the resume and other ways that students can demonstrate their future potential for leadership. So we often look into that, seeing that there is a student who is a possible or future responsible business leader, and how are they conveying that now as a prospective student and applicant? So there are a couple of different ways in which we're looking at, like, say, your academics, your communication. Of course, it's business, right? So presenting is a big part of being a business student. And so we'll look to see, how do you convey yourself in an interview? We do Zoom interviews with some of our applicants as well. And we ask you to talk about who you are and what you want to do. And these seem like easy topics, but sometimes it does trick people up. So knowing what is it that I want and what are my goals, that's really important as well too. And how you convey that in an organized manner is really key for us to better understand who you are and your potential too. Our GMAT is actually optional for all of our programs. So again, this is something that you can consider as a way to, really help to elevate your quantitative skills and to really portray to the admissions committee that you have what it takes to be successful in our program. But throughout all of our programs, MBA included, you do not need a GMAT or GRE score. So talking about what is actually needed, we do require like a resume, so a professional resume, and it can talk about a couple of different areas like your internships, full-time jobs, volunteering, and other leadership opportunities that you've taken advantage of, whether that's on campus or in your community as well. Official transcripts are needed. That is a requirement, right? We want to see that you have the equivalent of what we consider a bachelor's to be in the US, that you've done that here at UCU as well. At the time of admission, you can certainly just actually submit to us an unofficial transcript for the time being. We review it. As long as it's in English, then we're happy to review, and we can certainly make that decision off of that. And if you decide to attend with us, then you would just submit the official document to us afterwards. The English proficiency exam is actually waived for our UCU students because of the English proficiency test that you take at UCU. And so that is not needed. The TOEFL, IELTS, PTE, you can totally just forget about that. That's totally fine. Essays, we do have some application essays that do change from year to year. So you will have a question or a prompt in your online application that's asking you, what do you want to do? What types of goals do you have? So again, conveying that clearly, conveying that in an organized manner, and maybe considering, well, if this plan A doesn't work, what's my plan B? So these are different essay questions and prompts you might see as well. We also do ask, why do you want to be part of our school? And oftentimes many students say, because you're in New York. And I say, okay, that's great, but there's other schools in New York too, so can you tell me what else? And so knowing why you're pursuing our institution and what is interesting about us for you, other than the fact that we are in New York City, is really helpful for you to stand out as well too. But we want to make sure that when you come to our campus, you're going to be an active member of our environment, in our community. Because though we are in New York, we still very much want you to feel like you are a part of a community on our campus as well. As I mentioned, the GMAT and GRE are optional, and so is the professional recommendation. So you can opt for maybe an academic recommendation if you're coming right from undergraduate school. That's totally fine. It could be an advisor. It can be maybe a faculty member or an internship supervisor that you've worked with very closely. But if you're applying for, say, the MBA, a professional recommender is definitely key here. We want to see that you have what it takes to be successful, that you have that experience in leading or in being successful in professional environments. And so who can vouch for that is really key too. So having conversations with your recommenders and making sure that they know you. This is optional, but I do think that it can help set you apart from other candidates as well. And then we do have like a timeline. So typically once all those items are submitted to us, we then, as an admissions committee, take a step back and review you for about 4 to 5 weeks or so. We may ask you to interview with us via Zoom during that time as well. And then we finally meet back up as a committee to make that final decision. Do we admit and do we award scholarship? So that scholarship consideration is automatic. For our MS students, it often starts at $3,500 USD and goes all the way to $30,000. So that's about a 40% discount on average for our students. And then for the full-time MBA, because the investment in that program, the tuition is a little bit higher, typically our scholarships range from $30,000 all the way to full tuition, which is very exclusive too. And oftentimes they're seeing about a 60% discount rate, so about maybe $60,000 to $75,000 scholarship USD on average. All right, so that is the end. But I do think that I had a slide that had the my information on it, the contact information. I'm happy to, if anyone needs my contact info, I can send that on later on today as well too. But I'm also happy to take any questions. I know I've been talking quite a bit. Would love to hear from you all as well too. Does anyone have any questions for me? Yeah.
Si quieren, igual hacemos una cosa. Fío, que es la directora de Asuntos Internacionales de la universidad, capaz que podés venir y hacer, además de contarnos un poquito, hacer un wrap-up de qué se trata el acuerdo, porque que Cristina lo fue contando a lo largo de la presentación.
Pero para dejar claro los puntos. Primero que nada, presentarme con algunos que no me conocen, algunos ya los conozco. Soy Fiorella, directora de Asuntos Internacionales. Junto con Isa y con Euge estuvimos trabajando junto a Fordham para que esto pueda ser posible. Estuvimos por Nueva York, conocemos el campus y es fenomenal. O sea, está realmente en el medio de Manhattan, a la vuelta del parque, del Central Park, y al lado del Lincoln Center. Primero que nada, resumen de cuáles son los beneficios por ser estudiantes UCU, para que un poco dimensionemos todas estas propuestas. En realidad, lo primero es que tienen como un fast track para esa application, para la aplicación, ¿no? Por ser estudiantes, primero, ustedes se van a presentar con la UCU, se van a postular por la web con nosotros, y nosotros después le trasladamos esto a la universidad, que entra como por un fast track de aplicación. Después es esa beca que ella mencionó, para empezar, de fija de $10.000 para los estudiantes UCU. También hay una beca para la application fee. Ella mencionó que hay otras posibilidades de becas, o sea, esa de $10.000 es fija y después hay posibilidades de aplicar a más becas, que eso depende del caso a caso y los méritos propios. Los otros beneficios que también tienen por ser estudiantes UCU son, ella mencionaba el examen de inglés, que decía que es el que tienen ustedes de acá de UCU. En realidad es el examen, si ustedes tienen C1 del nivel C1, por cualquiera de los exámenes que damos acá, tipo FIRST, Prof, etcétera, ya no tienen que dar el TOEFL, el IELTS o el Duolingo. Ese es uno de los beneficios. Y lo mismo con el GMAT, que en realidad acá es opcional, entonces en verdad no sería necesario. ¿Tá? Cualquier cosa igual, nosotros estamos en la Oficina de Asuntos Internacionales, con Maru los podemos ayudar también desde FCE. En la web también hay información al respecto, pero
Y
algo
una cosa,
importante.
algo
Dale.
importante, y te
Dale.
interrumpí, dale.
Quería
sí.
darle como el marco de todo esto, que Isa un poco lo dijo al principio y yo estaba desde allá, pero ¿por qué hacemos estas cosas en la facultad? ¿Por qué en la UCU y por qué vemos que es importante? Esto es para un crecimiento personal y académico y porque ¿qué queremos buscar? La diferencia. Entonces, ¿cómo buscamos la diferencia? El otro día estaba con una colega del TEC de Monterrey que vino a visitar en Semana UCU y ella contaba que los empleadores, las empresas multinacionales, cuando entrevistaban a los estudiantes, no le preguntaban qué carrera sos, porque ya viene en el CV y te dice contador, licenciado en negocios, director de empresas, papá. Le preguntaban, ¿a dónde te fuiste? ¿Qué hiciste diferente? Y porque en el TEC de Monterrey está bien posicionado también la semana UCU nosotros la imitamos de la semana del TEC de Monterrey, le preguntaban qué habían hecho en semana UCU para entender y conocer un poco más al estudiante. Ella hoy dijo algo que estaba relacionado a eso, que es, en la application nosotros miramos qué hicieron fuera de clase. El empleador, la organización que los va a emplear a ustedes, no va a ver solamente de qué se graduaron, es qué más hicieron, qué hicieron de diferente. Y lo que decía hoy Mario de mirar el mundo, aprender, salir, está espectacular. Es verdad que sale caro, no vamos a decir que no, es un esfuerzo. Amerita ponerse metas, organizarse financieramente, vender becas, que ahora podemos vender con la UCU, rifas, perdón, becas. Estaría bueno. Vender rifas, que también pueden vender para estas experiencias, pero es diferente. Es un esfuerzo, pero que vale la
Antes de que
pena.
termines con la parte motivacional, gente, acá, hablando del tema financiero, una cosa que lo comentó Cristina así al pasar, pero que no quiero que quede desapercibido, porque cuando miramos los números, a los números que presentó Cristina, decimos, tenemos que sacar los $10.000 ya por ser estudiante SUCU, todas las posibilidades de becas adicionales que vienen atrás, pero hay un tema que mencionó Cristina que no tiene que pasar desapercibido. Ustedes, ya sea con esta propuesta de Fordham, pero también con la que tenemos con Fairfield, que tenemos una similar, ustedes por estudiar más de un año, esto por la legislación en Estados Unidos, por estudiar más de 9 meses en Estados Unidos, un año académico, ustedes después se pueden quedar 2 años más trabajando en Estados Unidos. Tienen visa de trabajo por 2 años más. Y en el caso de los programas STEM, esos que ya mencionaba, los que lo que tenían la cosita al lado, se pueden quedar 3 años trabajando. Entonces, sepan que también dentro de esa planificación financiera, si ustedes deciden agarrar alguno de estos caminos, que realmente va a cambiar, va a ser la diferencia, sepan que la inversión que haya que hacer del máster, después tienen la posibilidad de quedarse en Estados Unidos trabajando y les aseguro que repagan el máster y se vienen con plata en el bolsillo. Eso para tenerlo en cuenta, porque ser graduado de una de estas universidades les permite acceder a trabajos y a posiciones en organizaciones en Estados Unidos que los pagan muy bien. Entonces también cuando soñando a largo plazo, sepan que eso no es un tema menor. En la inversión que hay que hacer, después tienen la posibilidad de repagarla quedándose trabajando en Estados Unidos, que tienen visa de trabajo por esos años. ¿Sí? Y volví a la parte romántica que me encantó.
No, la parte romántica es un poco alentarnos a que aprovechen todas esas experiencias. Tanto esta para la maestría, que es para el final, para nosotros como UCU final, pero en realidad es el comienzo de la vida profesional de ustedes, como las otras oportunidades que tenemos, porque esto complementa toda una batería de oportunidades, desde las semanas internacionales que están ahora, las pasantías internacionales, ni que hablar los intercambios y la posibilidad de no atrasarse ustedes en su carrera, porque ahí la UCU lo solucionó. Y después, a nivel de posgrados, seguir esto, aprovechen todo eso, miren que se pasa todo rápido, no se dan cuenta y ya están en otras etapas. Salgan al mundo, busquen, intercambien. La multiculturalidad los enriquece de todas formas. No conozco a nadie que se haya ido, que haya salido y que diga me arrepiento. Todo esto los cambia para bien. Y tampoco lo tomen por take for granted, que todas estas oportunidades las tiene todo el mundo. Ustedes son estudiantes UCU y por ser estudiantes UCU, nosotros estamos trabajando día y noche para esto. Y no es fácil todo esto. Lo hacemos para ustedes, porque ustedes son nuestros estudiantes por los que nos desvivimos. Y está bueno que se involucren y que valoren y que pregunten. ¿Tá? Como esta edad es para preguntar. Y es un mundo para los inquietos. Entonces está bueno aprovechar todas estas cosas. Los invitamos. Muchas gracias, Cristina.
Sí, ya estamos en el tiempo, así que los que no queremos sacarles tiempo de su corte, porque además capaz que se tienen que ir a otros edificios y salones, pero cualquier duda, cualquier pregunta, además de que Cristina se queda acá un rato más, está en la Dirección de Asuntos Internacionales, está Maru y estamos cualquiera de los directores de carrera, decana y demás, a las órdenes para cualquier duda, porque esto seguramente no tengan dudas ahora en el momento, pero en algún momento de los próximos meses, años que estén acá, les puede surgir, ¿sí? Bueno, muchísimas gracias.
Si es para ella, en inglés, dale.
Hello. I didn't understand two things. The first one, if for the specialized masters, it's mandatory to have years of work experience. No. Okay. Only for the MBA.
Right, exactly. So for the specialized masters, sorry if that wasn't clear. So the specialized master's programs are considered pre-experience. So you do not need any experience to go into the program, though it does help to have had at least internship experience in that field. And if you have taken some classes academically that align with that program, that also is beneficial for you as well too. It looks better with scholarship, it looks better for admission, but you could be admitted without experience altogether as well too.
Right.
Yeah.
And the other was, I might haven't seen the numbers correctly, but how is it possible that for the executive MBA, like it's 21 months and like the times of classes were like so short?
Yeah, so the executive MBA is designed for those who might be going into like CEO or C-suite positions. So we don't usually see quite a lot of students coming from outside the United States for that program. It is 21 months because the idea is that they are working professionals already. So they have been working for 10 plus years in leadership roles and then are looking to add the executive MBA after. So that is why it's much shorter, whereas the full-time MBA, I would say, is more built for maybe earlier professionals, 3 to 5 years of experience who are looking to build those business skills, maybe pivot into a specific area of business, an industry, or a function, but they've already been working for some time as well. So a little bit different in terms of the experience behind a full-time MBA applicant and the executive MBA.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great questions.
Yo tengo una duda, pero no es directamente para ella, sino para el tema de la católica. ¿Es factible el máster este con el 4+1 o queda por fuera? Con el 4+1 la doble titulación.
Tú decís que, por ejemplo, estás haciendo un doble grado nuestro interno y después haces, sí, es totalmente independiente. O sea, tú podés hacer, ¿qué carrera estás haciendo? Estás haciendo negocios internacionales, Business Analytics, vas a tener tremendo perfil para aplicar al máster por ejemplo, ¿cómo se llamaba? de Business Analytics de ellos. Tremendo perfil tenés para aplicar a eso. Lo que pasa es que tú, los dos, por decirlo de alguna manera, tú estás haciendo, tú ahora sos bilingüe en 2 idiomas, que es negocios internacionales y Business Analytics. Cuando te gradúes vas a aplicar a hacer un máster, que es un grado más todavía. Y te va a hacer, al tener ese doble grado y como decía, tener cursos específicos de Business Analytics, vas a tener tremendo perfil para aplicar a esto. Eso,
Tal vez
sí.
lo único,
Gracias.
tal vez lo único que en tu caso es un 5+1, porque van a ser 4 más 1 más después del máster. Claro, pero como los máster no toman tus créditos selectivos, no se pisan con los 4+1 internos.
Un buen perfil también para aplicar a las 3 maestrías, si ya lo planifican, con los minors, por ejemplo, también. Ahí se puede pensar en hacer minors que estén relacionados a la maestría que vos querés aplicar allá. Entonces puedes mostrar que estuviste tomando cursos y eso usando toda la batería de herramientas de UQ.
Sí, voy para allá.
Gracias. Questions?
And this question would be for like the university or for you. So just in case, I'll go in English. I have a question about this 4+1. So we'll be completing a master's degree in 1 year instead of 2, which is typically how. The +1 has to be right after we graduate, or we can wait 2, 3, 5 years after completing our degree in order to,
Yeah, that's a great question. So I would say that the majority of students typically want to continue on and go into the master's program right away, but it isn't required if you need to take a time or two, or if you are looking to pursue professional opportunities, that's okay as well. That partnership would still be something that we would honor, even if you had taken some time to pursue opportunity and then apply for master's too. That is okay.
Ahí un consejo nomás de vieja, de experiencia. Lo que te pasa, seguir de largo, lo que es un tema más personal, de decir, bueno, yo quiero salir y tener experiencia y después irme a Estados Unidos a hacer un máster o seguir de corrido. El tema es que cuando te vas al mercado profesional y después cortar para irte a Estados Unidos, te cuesta más a veces decirme, ya tenés como un costo de oportunidad, digamos. Tenés un trabajo donde te está yendo bien, podés ascender, tenés una carrera, conseguir que en ese trabajo te aguanten para irte un año a hacer un máster y volver, ahí entran como otros factores en la conversación. Cuando seguís de largo es como más, a veces te cuesta menos la decisión de irte y de seguir de largo. Pero eso es un tema mucho más personal. A nivel de requerimientos, digamos, de las universidades, no pasa nada. Digo, si te vas y tenés experiencia y volvés, hasta te suman el currículum, yo qué sé. No, pero ahí entran después, claro, los trade-offs que tenés que hacer al momento de tomar la decisión, que es muy personal. Ahí. ¿Alguna otra pregunta más? Bueno, cualquier cosa quedamos por acá a la vuelta y muchísimas gracias y suerte con las clases que
Muchas
vienen.
gracias. Thank you. Thank you very much. Part about the application being like